You know, I've been watching these invitationals, and the more I watch them, the more I realize just how bad meta is right now. Like, True King of all calamities is a hell of a card, man. So make sure you guys slam that like button so you don't miss out on any more content. Today we'll be talking about the Invitational for Latin America over this past weekend that was streamed. And let's dig on into this, shall we? So our top cut breakdown here, as you see, we have two virtual world in top cut, which is pretty nice. All right, like one step closer to banning the deck. We had one Invoke Shadal, which was actually interesting because the commentators were actually rooting for Invoke Shadal to win, and I actually think that this was kind of hilarious. Actually, I didn't expect them to be pushing as hard to see Invoke to do well, but when your metagame is Virtual World make Cuck Dragon declare attribute, you walk away. Alright, like, there's nothing to do about it. And then we had one Zodiac Eldritch. This was actually very interesting. I was actually very, very shocked to see that this performed this well. Though we've been talking about that this has probably been like the best Eldritch variant out there right now. It definitely stirs the masses, and it's getting players somewhat excited. But once again, Mr. Very Fun Dragon, you go detach. Oh, light. Oh, you can't use the Eldritch monster in your hand to kill it. Sorry, man. Good game? No, interesting enough about this, though. No Drytron in top 4 here. So, Drytron's representation looks like it's taking a little bit more of a back seat. Don't get me wrong, Drytron is still a very powerful deck. I'm still constantly hearing complaints about the whole Vanities ruler. We do know that Vanities has taken a little bit of a back seat for the format. I know a few players like, well, it's still relevant in some degree, it should be banned. I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, we did have a lot of decks that were cutting it near the previous life cycle here, so which means that, what was the point? Alright, like, you can ban Vanities, but if half the format's not even playing it, half the format's still adapting. So, that's very interesting. So, I watched some little parts and snippets of the Remote Duel Invitational, and what I can tell you was the same thing that we've been hearing constantly throughout time here. Very Fun Dragon is a ridiculous card. Watching a True King of all calamities backed with a Gamma, so like the Gamma resolves, gets the driver onto the field, you get to make the Very Fun Dragon, and you're just like, so you have the extra 2 bodies on the field, you have the True King of all calamities because you got to negate something that your opponent attempted to do. It's actually, like, the Gamma is just such a win more presence on the field that it was actually ridiculous for this event, and I was just like, ugh, that's disgusting. Alright, so not only that, but like the rest of the field that you generate, so it's like True King and Chuchi. The fact that Chuchi just lets you okay, so if you go True King of all calamities and your opponent tries to do something to it, like this is the age-old problem with the True King play right now. If we could imperm the True King, that would be fine. Alright, like there wouldn't be any issue in the format. Like everybody would agree that True King wouldn't be so much of a thing here. But the problem right now is they can just kill the so they go Chuchi, kill the True King. So like you True King, you chain imperm, and then they're like, alright, chain Chuchi. Well, guess what? The True King is going to resolve in the graveyard. So enjoy. Like can't negate it now. Alright, I think that's where the flawed logic for the card design came into play here. So that was still our main problem here. Now, the thing that I laughed at, frickin' Denko Rekka came into the finals on 2 face-down back row and literally did what Denko does best. Now, for those of you, it has been a hot minute since we have seen Denko Sekka do anything. Alright, like, I love when this card actually comes up because it's a good time, alright? Back row players are afraid of this card's existence, alright? The fact that we got to see Denko Rekka show up in the finals for this, I was so excited, man. Like, that was hilarious, alright? So, free dubs right there, alright? Anytime you can see Denko Rekka get a free resolution, oh man, that's a good thing. Also, there was only one thing I found interesting about this event was they had no double webcam, and I read something about there being possible issues with that. I'm not going to elaborate too much into that because I didn't read too much into it, but possibility of not being able to track hand motions and things like that, that is an issue. So that is something that I do want to bring up, the possibility of only having the one webcam is definitely an issue for this style of remote duel. So I do hope that the Latin America scene will go back and adapt that. So that was like the only other major thing, but Denko really tore this up, man. Now I felt really bad watching the Shadal player. Man, that was a pretty quick train wreck. Like, the Shadal player just didn't have a chance in the world, man. Like, our Floodgate player, the same person that brought Denko Rekka, brought Imperial Order. Like, you know, if you're flipping Imperial Order against an Invoked player, it's game over. Like, this whole tournament was ran straight across the table by, like, abnormalities in day 2, alright? Like, Imperial Order's a blowout card, Denko Sekka's a blowout card. Like, how many blowout cards can you guys find? I also saw an Enter Blafnir do what it does best, destroying people's days. Alright, so think about that amount of craziness here, alright? Like, you don't have to make True King of all Calamities, you just make Enter Blafnir and tear your opponent through. So, good thing about this event, one-ups are hell of cards. We got to further see that True King of all Calamity. Man, how many times do we need to say this, Konami? How many times do we have to sit here and watch this? Like, I know that this seems like a rant at this point to a lot of players, but True King of all Calamities, it's so boring right now. Like, the format is so stale. Like, I'm fine with Drytron getting the chance to run around a little bit more. I'm not particularly too worried about it, alright? Like, Virtual World has become such an oppressive deck right now that it's bullying Drytron. And Drytron was, like, the second closest competitor that we had to it. And then, like, Zodiac Eldritch variants were running around underneath that. So think about that. Virtual World has ascended to such... It's almost at borderline tier 0 for this format. Now, remember, the current decks from other previous formats, these decks are very toned down from what we've expected at this point in time, which is very, very interesting. Going forward into next week, we have one more extravaganza. There should be the next 250-some man event for North America. It should be hopefully the last event underneath the current list. We're probably going to see Drytron take that. Though, interesting enough with these previous extravaganzas, there's been a lot of Rogue running around. And I think that's been something interesting. You know, coming off of, like, double invitationals, where we see these high-seeded players playing Virtual World with some good counters to the metagame, like, Mr. Dragoon Turbo, and then you shift on over here to more of an open fielded event. That's where you're going to see the chance for Rogue to come back. Remember last time we saw an event like this running around, we had frickin' Sky Striker Eldritch, right? The only time on record that I've seen Sky Striker Eldritch do anything in the States was at that last previous event, and it was very interesting. So I'm looking forward to at least hopefully seeing some sort of Rogue come out of that. I haven't seen any pure Dragon Maid decks do anything recently, which I'm a little bit disappointed about, but hopefully next week, as we head on into that next event, we'll see a nice little stir in the metagame, hopefully, and then as we head on into March, we'll produce the next ban list, which will probably end up helping us out take care of the current problems in the metagame, which are, you know, Virtual World. Just get rid of True King, man. So overall, this weekend's event was very interesting. I enjoyed it. Heading on into next week, I'm excited to see what we're going to possibly get in terms of new decks, hopefully for more Rogue. But outside of that, what do you guys think about the Remote Duel Invitational out of this weekend? So make sure you guys leave a comment down below. Down there, please. Make sure you guys smash that like button so you don't miss any more content. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on in the day with some more cool, awesome content. Peace out, guys.
Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out Vanquill40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by Imquill40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out imquillgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.